So for me, it's just like you've tried all other ways and then you get tired, you get beaten, you get depressed. And you realize that this is actually it's not very wise to try and do everything because you don't have first of all, you don't have to live through every mistake to learn them yourself. And you can actually win throughout this, which is actually smart and more efficient. So it's like a lot of failure from trying to do it the old school ways and coming to the realization that actually it's smarter to just work with and through people. And that's something that we still try to do.
Hello and welcome to Springboard, your virtual university. My name is Albert Okran. Welcoming you to Ghana's foremost developmental program and that place where the greatest minds in the world converge. Springboard is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with Enterprise Group, MTN Ghana, and the Ghana Growth Program, a collaboration between Mastercard Foundation and Springboard. Our media partners, Joy 99.7 FM, Joy News Television, the Graphic Group of Newspapers, and the Springboard channel on YouTube. Here we are continuing our conversation on the entrepreneurial mindset. What does it take to build, to fashion, to start, to grow a thriving enterprise, bring on board other people and create wealth and sustainable progress in any country in the world, and especially within the Ghanaian context? One twist to it. What about agriculture? How do we do this in the agricultural space or the agribusiness space? This is a big one, and I want you to stay tuned as we explore it together. They say entrepreneurs see what others can't see, do what others won't do, and accomplish what others dream about. Is it true? Let's find out from my guest. He is the founder of a company with 3,000 partners across 50 countries, has digitized 2.2 million farmers with his Dali AI platform. My guest, Alloysius Attah, the CEO of Farmerline. Farmerline, that's the name of the company.
Yeah, Farmerline Group.
Farmerline Group. Farmerline Group.
Yes.
We'll break down the group and then explore what it does. And your platform has been named as one of Time Magazine's best inventions of 2024. When you lie down and you wake up and reflect on 20 years ago, Alloysius, did you ever think you'll be here?
No, honestly, not the details. Growing up, my aunt always would tell me that, we will grow up like all parents tell their children, you grow up to do something. So we had that belief, but these are the details of what God has been able to do with the vision in our life. I never imagined it, honestly. And every day it's like it's a nice surprise.
What was the dream growing up?
The dream was very simple. I grew up at home. My auntie, my late aunt, Helen Attah, my father's elder sister. I remember growing up, I'll be by the coal pot, finding the coal pot, and she'll say something like, "Oh, you're the one who's going to bury me one day. Or you're the one who's going to take care of me when you..." So that's like, that responsibility and that, that stayed with me because she was my first love. She gave me everything. I lived with her from year 4 or 5, 1994, when my parents split. So she would say things like that to me. So as a young boy, the last born, it stayed with me. And I always wanted to grow up and get a job and do something to make her proud. And that's where everything started from. My confidence, everything came from her. So the vision at the time was very simple. Study hard, be first in school, or at least be in the top 3, get a job, make money, and then, support my aunt. And obviously my family as well in the best way I can. So that was just like a very simple dream at the time. Yeah.
What were your subject interests or your career interests growing up? I had a mix of them. I kept migrating. Did you have that kind of experience where you say today doctor, tomorrow next, or tomorrow lawyer, the next day pilot, the next? Did you do those migrations?
All the above. The first one was actually very funny. I grew up at the whole, and there was a cement shop in front of our house. And these loaders come and load the cement in the evening, and then they'll have money counting. So one day I remember I woke up, went to my aunt. I'm like, when I finish school, I want to be a cement loader. It's like, that's the example I saw. I wanted to also have the coins and money. She's like, all the suffering I'm suffering, I want to be a loader. You, this boy, you're not going anywhere. So that was my first dream. Clearly, that's not what thought out. Then I wanted to be a medical doctor, because of the white coat. Then I wanted to be in the military because of the masculine energy. Some of my relatives were in the military as well, so I was taking inspiration from that. So it kind of changed based on what was happening at the time and what was around me at the time. Yeah.
I'm sure looking back, it sounds funny. I mean, imagine yourself in a white coat. Doing surgery.
I don't think I will. Yeah, I don't know if I'll be a good. You never know. You
never know.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was the turning point? How did you find yourself in Agric? Because from Ho, did you pursue anything in Agric?
Yeah, so I finished Maoli GSS at Ho, and then I went to Awuduma Secondary School. But the way how I got into that school also was I wanted to go to Maoli SS, and at the time they changed the headmaster, they changed the policy. I didn't have a single grade at the time. But so then I was not part of the first batch of people. My dad was not very happy. My second choice was Bishop Herman. We didn't actually follow up on that. And my dad's cousin was working at Awuduma Secondary School. And then he's like, hey, bring your son. Let's see if we can find him a course. And when I went there that evening with my dad, they presented two options, agricultural science or biological science. And I was afraid of biological science for some reason. And I chose Agric, not knowing that the only difference between Agric and biology at the time was just the biology and then the general agriculture. So that's how I kind of ended up in agriculture. And it was also a bit familiar as well, because when I was growing up at home, my aunt was farming around the Deme, Jesaba area, behind the police depot. So I guess the exposure to agriculture, growing up, going to the farm, although reluctantly, and then going to school late and being presented with two options. I actually wanted to do business administration, but that wasn't available at our school at the time. So I chose agriculture. So that was my introduction to Agric. Started from Awuduma Secondary School. Then I went to Tech. Tech 2. I remember when the results came, my dad and my uncle, I remember that morning, that dance, they were trying to choose a course for me. And at the time, Ghana just discovered oil. So they were interpreting natural resource management. They didn't see the renewables. So they just, renewable natural resource management was the program. But they saw natural resource management. They're like, oh, go and do natural resource management. You might get a job in your oil company when you finish. I went to school, first lecture, they were telling about the career prospect. Forestry, extension officer. The best opportunity at the time was to work in the bank. So for me, I was very disappointed because that's not what we had in mind when we came. I also didn't do enough research. I just went with what my dad and my uncle kind of selected. So yeah, that's how come I got into agriculture. But my disappointment led me to learn other things and do other things on the side, and I hope we can go into that later.
Right away, because that's the whole idea. I'm tracking this journey.
Yeah.
And three things stand out to me. First of all, the affirmation of your auntie.
Yeah.
And the fact that she kept telling you could do well, and it stayed in your mind. You're talking about it today like it was yesterday she said it.
Yeah.
So that is the first thing that strikes me. Then the confidence that affirmation birthed in you is the second lesson that I'm picking.
Yeah.
But the third is then the desire for excellence, that desire to say, if they believe in me, then I will do well so I can look after the family.
Yeah.
That's significant, because it's not an accident that you are where you are.
Yeah.
I get a sense that these things all played a role.
Yeah.
But then the fourth one I'm also looking at is choices that are being made based on available information that may not necessarily be the full picture of what it is. So let's navigate away from a place of seeming disappointment. How did it become, if I may say so, appointment?
My dad was a teacher. He was teaching at, Mamobi Prisons 2, GSS. And before then, he was teaching at some other GSS at home. So he was not making enough. I remember his salary was not even more than 2,000 a month. So he took every time we are going to school, my sister and I, he would take a long-term loan, 5 years, and pay our fees. So for me, he took a loan again, paid my fees. I knew very well that 5 years before he would get money. So I remember going to school, Kumasi, with one bag, 30 CDs, Gary Shito from my aunt, going to school. And for me, I remember telling myself, and then in our family, we're not the upper middle class, we're the lower middle class. We have cousins in Accra. And those days we were looking at Accra people as the bougie, that are big people. So for me, I've always been praying for an opportunity to truly prove what God has given me. So I remember when I even got a call that got admission into Tech. I was a waiter at the State House. They did some event, And then I was in my bow tie, I was actually serving curry kwashigan. And my cousin called me like, hey, we just got it. Like, we just got into tech. And I remember saying to myself, like, I don't know why I said this. Now looking back, it might sound like it was planned, but I'm like, okay, finally, the boys shall be separated from the men. Because we, like, GSS, primary school, I didn't go to the best schools. Like, the preparatory schools were seen at the best schools at the time. SS, I went to Awudome. I didn't go to, like, the big schools. So, it's always been about, like, you're in a situation where, there's always some disadvantage. So now, like, all the best schools are all coming to the same university, KNUST. I'm like, okay, now we're all going to be in the same classroom, the same lectures. Now we shall see. So for me, that was like the motivation. So the drive. I remember when I got there, I was like I don't like, now, I told the story, I was too serious. And also I knew where I'm coming from. I knew that like something has to happen. So when I got there, first week, started selling calculators, selling skirts, whatever I needed to do. For me, that was a journey into entrepreneurship. I needed to make some money because I know after year one, my dad will not have enough money because he took a lot of loan to pay for my fees. He will not have enough money to pay my hostel fees. So I knew I had to work with my hands to make some money to pay for my fees. So that's what got me into entrepreneurship. It was about survival, trying to make ends meet. And all these things that we are saying right now, entrepreneurship and all this, I didn't even know those things existed.
You're just living it.
Yeah, make money,
survival.
pay your fees. That was it, to be honest.
So you finished a course in renewable.
I did finish a course in renewable natural resource management. The lecturers didn't even know me in class. Now I went back last year, or I'm going blank, either last year or the year before, to give address for in the graduate. But when I was in class, when I was in tech, I never answered a question in class. I was doing the course to get like a good grade so my dad can be happy. But I knew I didn't want to end up in agriculture. In my dorm room, my close friend Chanik was there, and then another friend, Marcel, who was an actuarial student. He was studying to become an actuarial science. So I'm like, okay, I was good at math, so let me also learn math on the side to become an actuary. That didn't go well. And then I joined a university choir, KNUST. And in that choir, they wanted to build a website. So my friends at the time, Hansen Selassie, Emmanuel also are there. They formed a small committee, and they asked us to build a website for the university choir. And that was my first exposure to IT, software programming. They taught us HTML, CSS. So for me, I learned from people. And once I find something, I will be obsessed. So I studied computer programming from there. That same year, tech does this thing called sites or missions. So, students go to villages, they plant churches, they do. When we're finishing my first year, my roommate Chanik told me, hey, this group called, Campus Crusade for Christ International, they are doing, missions at Brekum. And then the attraction was that when you go, you get 2 weeks of free food, and then they'll give you money for transport. And we didn't have money for transport. I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good deal. It wasn't about the missions. It wasn't about soul winning at the time. And we went. And when I went,
you still won the soul, right?
Yeah, we did. Like that place, that's a difference. We were laying hands. I've not done that before. I know what happened. I joined a media team, and in the media team, there's this guy called Maxwell Afram. He was leading the media team, and then he exposed me to, photography and video editing. So although I'm sharing this story to share that, although I went to tech to study renewable natural resource management, my time in the choir exposed me to computer programming, and then my time in Campus Crusade for Christ exposed me to media stuff. And I went on to create companies from those two experiences to meet the need that I found from year one, which is to pay my hostel fee and also to pay my fees and support my parents, knowing that they've done everything possible to put me where I was. So that's just how everything connected. I was still doing natural resource management though. I was not a very good student at tech because I was busy doing everything else. I was volunteering for, the KJTR event in Kumasi. They started from campus called Spring Breath. I was volunteering, and then they'll put my logo at the bottom, sponsor, because I was volunteering. In University Choir 2010, we came to do a program in Accra called Israel and Egypt. I was part of the committee, and then I was using my photo videography skills there So yeah, just like volunteering, and that drive came from the belief. Obviously, came from my aunt. That seed came from my aunt. When I went to school, it was about survival, but it was also about proving like people wrong. That also drove me a lot because of where we came from, and even our own family, the discriminations. So I'm like, okay, need to like, even though my dad was a teacher, I didn't have enough, like all the bullshit people we will see, like that was like those drive. That was what was driving me at the time.
When you think about it right now, do you laugh?
Yeah, I laugh. I'm like, yeah, like now it doesn't really matter. But at the time, that was a fear that mattered. That was a fear that was driving me. Wow, like I've not actually said these things out loud in a very long time. Yeah, that was a fear driving me to just prove that I too can make something of myself, and my life also meant something. And my aunt made me believe very early that you are here for a greater purpose. And my dad would tell me, but I didn't believe my dad because he would be saying it when he was tipsy, and I'd be so mad about it that he was tipsy. But he would tell his brothers and cousins, "Oh, my son is going to do things," and I'll be mad. Like, Dad, don't say that. I don't want to hear it because he was saying it, he was sharing that while tipsy. But yeah, like those things stayed with me.
But he spoke.
He did. Yeah, I wish he was alive today to see everything.
He's not. Sorry about that.
He passed 20. But he saw some. He saw the very early stages.
I was going to ask you about that. Did he see the beginnings of where you are now?
The first 3 years, I hid it from them because I was afraid that they would discourage me. Because there was just not like a lot of example of people or the examples of people who started entrepreneurship who didn't like succeed in the manner that the family expected. They will always like make fun of them and say things. Oh yeah, you went to school with a degree. Why are you wasting your time doing all these things? So I was afraid that that would be my situation as well. So I stayed in Kumasi. I finished tech 2012. I said I chose national service in Kumasi. I stayed there for a purpose, and I didn't tell anybody what I was doing. I hid it for close to 3 years. And then we won some awards, some Unilever Sustainability Award. And then they also did a lot of press. And one of my uncles saw it and told my dad. And my dad like, what are you doing in Kumasi? And then now, like, some progress started happening. But my aunt always knew. My aunt, I'll tell her about my pain. Like, she was my first love.
Her name is Helen.
Helen Attah, yes.
Is she watching you today?
Well, she also passed, sadly. She also passed, sadly. But she knew. I would talk to her about salary problems, about team problems. Like, I remember my co-founder and I, we debated on who should be the CEO. I told her about all that. Like, she knew, and she'll remember and call me to ask the details. So she was very, very important in my life, to be honest. And my aunt, yeah.
A storyteller, an IT person, a media person, a farming person, an AI person, so many bundled into one. And Alloysius is telling a story from an angle that many of us can relate to very, very much. And I love the sincerity, the transparency, the honesty, and the beauty of the story he's telling. Because many face the same situations but don't respond in the way that he did. So maybe I can learn from this that when things are thrown at you, instead of being angry, you convert that anger, that disappointment, that perception into energy and fuel for the things that you can do to become a better person. So you say you were hiding in Kumasi and no one knew what you were doing. Yeah. So tell us, what were you doing?
Actually, like, this is a funny thing because yesterday, the guy's house I was hiding in is called Flex, Nana Sapon. He runs this called in Chia. He's been building this in Chia learning system for over 10 years now. He actually just posted on Twitter last night, and I retweeted, and he texted me. And it brought back a whole lot of memories. Because when I finished school, when I was in Kumasi after the first year, I stayed in what we call hostel. It's those who can afford the hostels. You live in someone's house, someone's garage. And then when I finished, I went to stay in his house for 1 year because he wanted me to build a website for him. So I used my skill set that I got from the choir to build a website, and in exchange, accommodation for free.
Easy.
And then I got my national service at Tech. I was working at UITS, which is like the IT department under the VC's office. So I was working there I worked there for 6 months, and then Farmerline took off. Like, meaning that like we started winning awards and we started getting funding. And then it got serious, right? Like Farmeline, when we started it, it was just purely, so I did all the IT things, building websites. And there was this lady in Accra called Florence Topher. She runs this thing called Mobile Web Ghana. She came to Kumasi telling us about IT for business, telling us about Kenya, building Ushahidi, M-Pesa. And I was sitting there as a young coder. I'm like, what is this? I was very curious. So she told us about a training boot camp on Legon campus. that we should come. I remember like I was doing my final year thesis and I told my lecturer, I want to go for this program. It's like, according to university rules, you can't leave campus for 14 days. You come back, you're not graduate. I still went. Now, like when you look back, everyone is like happy about it, but I still went. I was stubborn. I came to stay on Legon campus. And a friend of mine's mom, Jerry Gavu, Emmanuel Gavu, the mom had a house at Zongo Junction. There's a place called Chelsea. So we're staying there. This woman will cook for us for free. We're eating and we'll go to Legon campus. And it was there that I got to learn about what entrepreneurship meant. We got to learn about the business model canvas, how to build a business plan on one page without a 30-page. We get to learn about how to use your coding skills to build solutions, to solve problems. Well, it was a 3-week program. And from there, they asked us to come up with an idea that solves a problem that we cared about. And for me, Agric was a no-brainer. I remember my co-founder, Emmanuel, he was talking about health and talking about other things. And we finally converged on agriculture. And his why was his mom had a clinic in a farming village in a place called Mampontin. And he was always he was always troubled with the idea that how is it that, like, some of the hardworking people like farmers are not able to afford healthcare? Because they always come for healthcare at their clinic on credit. And mine was my aunt's experience growing up with her. So that's where Farmerline was born. Our idea was the best idea from that program. We got $600. It might look like something small.
Yeah.
But $600 in 2012 or so. Idea was the best idea. And, all the information is online, still online. We're very naive. The idea directionally is still the same, but like what we thought it was going to be like purely tech products. It's going to go viral like WhatsApp. We're going to be the next Facebook, the next Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates. That was the drive. We wanted to do all that, but little did we know that in this sector in agriculture, first of all, it's extremely hard to do. But then you cannot make money if you don't create value. And if you're working with, populations that are very price sensitive, that are used to being exploited and taken advantage of, you have to build trust, you have to create value, and then you can capture a fraction of that value as your revenue and income. And all those lessons, hopefully we get into it down the line. But that's how we got there.
Wow. So here you are in Legon and you've defied the 14-day rule, left campus. We come to learn about how to build a business plan, how to found a partner, got in a concept. So you went back and went to finish your
I went back, finished my, and man, God has been good. My program was in renewable natural resource management. I've been able to convince my lecturer to let me build a software for my degree in natural resource, which is,
oh wow.
Yeah. And then they to their credit, they allowed me to do that. I remember I built a software called Aqua Feed Finder. It wasn't like a good software when I look back, but it was just like the idea around that is that a lot of Ghana imports so much fish. A lot of the fish farmers are very skilled. They want to grow fish, but the feed is very expensive. And the reason is the protein content. You have to use fish meal to make it. So we're building a platform that allowed them to get the local ingredient to formulate their own feed, but then also to buy feed as well. So they allowed me to collaborate with another colleague of mine called Salam Dazawa, where she was doing all the hard work, collecting all the data, and then we were building a simple web platform. And when I look back, I also chose the easy way out because it was easier for me to build that software in 2 weeks instead of a 6-month project work. So credit to KNUST, my lecturer, Professor Nelson Agbo, he's still there at KNUST, just allowed me, and Professor Amy Sadi allowed me to okay, let's see where this thing goes. So my first intro into agriculture and technology was my project work. The project work itself didn't go anywhere, but the confidence from building a solution for agriculture and for farmers, actually came from there. Yeah.
These are very important pillars, and I like the way you remember people who helped you. You remember even the one who cooked for you at Zongo Junction, the place called Chelsea. These are very compelling aspects of your story, because out of each of them, if I was writing a book on your life, out of each of them is a chapter that tells us that I told somebody that God is not like us.
Yeah.
If you are driving from Tema to Accra, if it is us, you hit the motorway, then straight.
Yeah.
Then you come to Tetekwashi, and then you go to wherever you're going.
Yeah.
But God doesn't do that.
Yes. It doesn't.
They say his ways are not our ways. Before you realize, he starts you through some community, something, and then you have turned into some Sakumono somewhere, and then you're wondering, why doesn't he take us straight?
Yeah.
Why does God do that? Do you know? Have you asked him before?
I guess it's just molding us, because like now the story sounds well put together, but it wasn't always. It didn't always feel like that in the moment.
I think so. So I'm asking you, the times when it wasn't feeling like that, what did you tell God?
Like like in the usual frustration. You think about quitting. Like for quitting there, I thought about it many times.
Tell me about that.
There was a time we hired our first 6 people in Kumasi when we started. Like, we were our friends from the choir. Emmanuel's my co-founder. Someone called Walali. He's still in the company right now. Walali Senyo, Amos Wusa. He's no more with the company. Joe Budu, and then Shandoff. There were 6 of us. We didn't have salary. We couldn't afford salary. And we were just paying 50 cedis at the time. That was like 13 years ago. So the best way to survive for like 3 months was for us to eat together, because that's what the company could afford. We had 1 meal a day. So go to a place, when you go to Tech, IDRC Gate, there are some people selling food there. We'll go and buy rice, go and buy beans, and then we mix it together. This lady knows us. So all 6 of us will go, actually 5 of us. Walali was in Accra at the time. And then we go and eat together, right? So that's just one thing, one example. And for me, that was just like a pivotal moment where I told myself, okay, work so hard that you don't have to come back here again, where you can't afford the salary. But that moment was so hard. In a moment, it didn't feel like, the future looked blurry. I remember like I bought GMAT. GMAT is a MBA one, right? You're going to, I bought a GMAT thing, and I told myself, if this doesn't work, I'm going to write a nice failure essay to one of these US universities and get go do my degree. So I was trying to create plan B because it wasn't going well. And that same year, I remember 2013, we applied for a program called Echoing Green Fellowship. They find some of the best entrepreneurs in the world, and then they support them. We applied in 2013, we didn't get it. 2014, we applied again. 2013, we got to the semi-final. I was quite sure we're going to get it because we needed that $80,000 at the time to to kickstart things. We didn't get it. It was heart-wrenching. Everything still looked blurry. I was still looking at options. In 2014, we got it. And for me, that was life-changing.
Was it a turning point?
It was a turning point. It was not just the money, but also just again, like how I got admission into tech. And I'm like, okay, the boys are separated from the men. Like getting that stamp, they select the best in the world. And getting that stamp, it doesn't, because they are the best, right? They select black, everyone, India, China, everywhere. And then they selected us out of 1,000 applications. We're one of the top 30 people that they selected in the world. And then they gave us their blessing. They gave us money, $80,000, $90,000, and then intense support. But then the beauty about that fellowship was the community around the world. I can go anywhere, London, whatever, and I can test in a group, hey, I'm in this place. And someone will volunteer their time, their bed, or whatever. It's just a very powerful network. And through that, we actually got one of our first partner, Hershey,
Chocolate.
Yes, they are one of our clients now for 10 years. And the way
it's one of the biggest in the whole world.
Yeah, biggest in the world. And the way they started working with us was that, like, there's this lady who was working for Hershey. She's Ghanaian. I don't know if Tewia Ejako. She went to Harvard, and then she was telling us, like, the best students from Harvard end up becoming Echoing Green Fellows. Like, Michelle Obama became a Echoing Green Fellow. Van Jones became a Echoing Green Fellow. So she was like curious, who are these Ghanaians? 2 Ghanaians in Kumasi became Echoing Green Fellows. So when they were there, they drove to our office. They found us online, drove to our office. And that's how, and the project that they engaged us on, Merge Data, is our core technology platform. They were working with one of the cocoa buying companies at the time called Amajaro. Amajaro contracted us to build a software for them. And then we had 2 choices: build a software, get paid $10,000, or build a software, take less money and own the IP.
Hold it there.
Yes.
When we come back from the break, Alloysius will tell you the answer to the question. Do you collect everything up front, or do you retain a share in there? This is Springboard, a virtual university, brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with Enterprise Group, MTN Ghana, and the Ghana Growth Program, a collaboration between Mastercard Foundation and Springboard. Well, for some time now, we've been running the Enterprise Spotlight announcement, inviting young people aged between 18 and 40 to submit their businesses that they are running for qualification or selection to win from a prize pool of 500,000 Ghana cedis. Well, over 1,000 young people expressed interest, shortlisted to a little under 500 people who met the criteria for selection. Well, after weeks of shortlisting and sifting, our distinguished judges selected 24 finalists for the Enterprise Spotlight. Earlier this week, we made that big announcement in a virtual meeting. Let's go out there for the highlights of the big announcement. After a thorough selection process, this is a list of 24 finalists for the Enterprise Spotlight. Finalist number 1, my co-staff Ghana, Foley Elisha Kofi from the Greater Accra region. Number 2, Husk Park Ghana Limited, Vixen Bright Salem from the Volta region. Number 3, Biowax Ghana Limited, Emilia Adi from the Central region. Number 4, Ecovon Limited, Foster Ifiosei from the Greater Accra region. Number 5, NH Natural Foods Supplies Limited, Portia Equia Kuma from the Brown region. Number 6, Emmanuel Elim Hub, that's the name of the company, and the entrepreneur is Joseph Akanboriguk Abula from the Upper East region. 7, Trash Smart, and that's promoted by Ifwa Asaribia Opare Beidu from the Ashanti region. Number 8, Inclusive App Craft, promoted by Archibald Digraft Aqua, Greater Accra. Number 9, Agri Makeup Limited, promoted by Luther Jesse Kwashi, and that also is Greater Accra. Number 10, Harvest and Spice Enterprise, promoter Esther Ofusu, Volta region. Number 11, Need Be Foundation, Samuel Jomeku, and that's from the Eastern region. Number 12, Guard Path Technologies, Shamsia Titiaka Abdul Larim from the Northern region. 13, Orav and Emmanuel Yahira Amevo from the Greater Accra region. 14, Herb Gardens, Edna Vosa from Greater Accra. 15, Wax Farm, Yahaya Idi from the Northern region. 16, Okumkom Biodigital Investment Limited, Elijah Amu Adu from Greater Accra. 17, Dates to Eat, and that's promoted by Benis Forsen in the Eastern region. 18, 3N Selimba Waste Utilization, and the promoter is Minkailu Amidu Yakubu Selimba, and that is Upper West region. 19, Forestland Shoes, Alex Kumaga from the Volta region. 20, The Dance Fashion House, Deborah Anum from the Greater Accra region. 21, Pure Loop Limited, Abraham Ibochan, and that's the Northern region. 22, Dark Pro Ghana, Ernest Sampondakun from the Eastern region. 23, Go Pick Ghana Limited, Michael Asari from the Greater Accra region. 24, the final one, Delifa Logistics, Valerie Enyonam Tonu from the Greater Accra region. And that's your final list of 24 for the Enterprise Spotlight. Congratulations to all 24. Well done. And to all 468 that qualified, well done. You also will receive some guidance on this journey, so no one is left behind.
Going to the library. Going to the library.
Okay.
I'm going for my graduation. Go well.
Education changes stories, and being part of these stories is the real passion for us. MTN.
No stress. Submit your insurance claim online in just seconds on the Claims Express portal. Simply upload your national ID, cost estimates, pictures, and more to get started. Submit online, track progress, and get paid fast. Skip the paperwork and get back on the road with ease. Visit claimexpress.enterprisegroup.net.gh for easy claims and quick payouts with absolutely no stress.
Enterprise, your advantage.
Welcome back to Springboard, your virtual university, and to this absolutely incredible conversation with Alloysius Attah, the CEO of the Farmerline Group. And we just are breaking down some interesting aspects of his life that, when they connect together, tell a beautiful story. But he says when they were happening, it wasn't beautiful at all. In fact, the quit sign came up several times, but somehow he stayed the course, and here he is. Springboard is brought to you by the Springboard Roadshow Foundation in partnership with the Enterprise Group, MTN Ghana, and the Ghana Growth Program, which is a partnership between MasterCard Foundation and Springboard. Our media partners are Joy FM, Joy News, the graphic newspapers, and the Springboard channel on YouTube. The Enterprise Spotlight is looking for the next Alloysius Attah, looking for people who can make a difference with their business ideas. And unlike Alloysius, that when they started, they struggled there before somebody saw them. This one, they are trying to. The first one you got $600.
$600, yeah.
Exactly. So here you go. So this one is looking for 24 good business ideas that are being actually worked so that they can compete for a prize pool of up to 500,000 cedis. And the overall winner gets to win 100,000 cedis, which is slightly more than $600.
Wow, that's a lot.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so the selection has been made, and next 2 weeks you'll see them live on this show. We'll take 3 weeks to just take you through the presentations, the pitching, and you can get to be part of it. So please watch this unfold right before your eyes, and just the inspiration of that one alone could transform your life and your business. And next time you could be the one on this show telling your story in a beautiful way like Alloysius is doing. So please, the Enterprise Spotlight is coming to you live here on Springboard, your virtual university. All right. So please note that Enterprise is now ISO 27001 certified, and your data security and safety is absolutely guaranteed. So Peter Drucker said something about entrepreneurs. He said the entrepreneur always searches for change, responds to it, and exploits change as an opportunity. The life of my guest for today is being inundated, or is full of changes from one thing to another and to another. And these changes sometimes look disruptive, but they carry in it some very beautiful lessons. My key lessons so far are about affirmation from Auntie Helen, about confidence, about desiring excellence, about choices that are being made and yet you don't even know what you are choosing. You think the course is one thing, it's another. About being very serious and determined to tell the world that you are better than they think you are. About selling on campus because, Charlie, for a 5-year loan for a first year, it's obvious the father can't support the rest of the education, so you need to fend for yourself and pay the bills at that early age. It sounded like selling on campus, but guess what? That is where the seed of entrepreneurship was sown, self-learning. And then I love the choir website.
Yeah.
That you go to the choir, you build a website, and then it opens you up to IT.
Yeah.
And then you go to Campus Crusade, go on evangelism because of free food and free transport. And then now you learn about media stuff, photography and video editing. And then you are building companies out of them. So I'll take you on my next evangelist. Who knows? Something else might come out of it.
Yeah.
But Alloysius, you are a problem solver. That seems to be the persona that you have, because you're solving different problems with your different abilities. Would that be a good summary?
Yeah, it is. It is. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it, to be honest. Thank you.
An entrepreneur must be a problem solver, I believe.
Yeah, it must be a problem solver. And one of the things I was reflecting on this weekend and this morning is just when you're trying to solve problems, it will come with a lot of pain and isolation. And one of the lessons, I don't know where it came from, the lesson I'm just reflecting on this morning is just like not to be married to that pain or, isolation in the moment. To keep the big picture in mind, but also to just have like a steady foundation that tells you the truth all the time. And that foundation could be your support system, it could be your pastor, it could be the word of God or whatever, or the word of God, honestly, I'm not just saying that is true. because I have data points on trying other different foundations that don't last. So yeah, like to build. Obviously, there's always this glory that we talk about now, but in the moment it doesn't feel like it. There are times where we are getting celebrated in the media, and that same day I'm like very depressed about something.
Wow.
Right. So it just and it's not like a straight line, you know, it's like in cycles, right? And for me, it's just like in part of growing is just learning to like accept the things I don't control and accept that pain will always be part of the journey, and learning not to prioritize the pain over the journey and the lessons that are coming out of it. So yeah, to answer your question shortly, yeah, got to build to make things happen. But
this conversation has been held with three different leaders from 3 different industries. I've had it with Horseman Shoes, Tony Senaya. I've had this conversation with Caveman Watches.
Yeah.
Jamefe
Anthony, Molly Primary.
Yes. Oh, you know him?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. We went to Molly Primary together, and then Molly GSS. He's always been very artistic. He's been drawing. Like,
seriously,
in classroom, or they were teaching, he would draw this art, like very high quality art for like for a teenager. So he's always been very different. He's always been driven. I followed this story from when he was working at Africa Regent, and then started selling watches, and then started repairing watches, and started making watches. Like, I've seen it all, but the quality, his eye for detail, like I'm always surprised about how serious, but then also the confidence that he can build things from Ghana right here and compete globally. I think when I meet him and he's saying the things, I'm like, yeah, I know you're great, but like, yeah, that is it. Then he'll do it. Like,
so how does it feel? I mean, let me go back to Mauli Primary, Mauli GSS. Yeah. Then you felt it was not a bourgeois schooling in quotes, but here by talking to you, listening to your story and all the amazing things you're doing, and then I'm saying, okay, so next to you in the same class sat Anthony Jamefe.
Yeah.
Doing incredible things. Yeah. Reflecting now, there must have been some foundation there that sparked what you are doing.
Yeah, like the teachers, then, and I can name some of them. Mr. Boachi, I can't remember his first name, but Mr. Boachi was a very good science teacher. He was a disciplinarian. We didn't like him at the time. But he was always like beating, like lashing you for not following but he was Bonsi, he was a math teacher. We were always clashing, but he gave me confidence in math. Because he was a very, very good teacher. There's this one called Action. I can't remember his name. He's now a chief in one of the whole suburb distance. And then the headmaster, Mr. Denakpo, the late Mr. Denakpo, he was very good friends with my dad. That man, there was a time when my friends were fighting and I was just in the vicinity. He didn't punish the people who were fighting me. I weed because he was friends with my, so like just the environment. but it was very simple. The classroom that we grew, like now when I went back, I'm like, wait, why did they add windows? Because when we were there was no windows to the class, there was no door. It was like, uncompleted building. But for us, it was paradise. The teachers were good. They were serious. Now they've built like a canteen. Those days, there was no canteen. You go and buy your rice. You put a stone. You sit on it. This is Molly GSS and Molly Prime. You put a stone. We all gather and eat. And then there's a yakayake seller in the background. That was just like the background. The school was just right beside the EP cemetery. So when there's break, we all sit on the graves and be talking and chatting with each other. Like for us, that's our memory. Like those memories, for me, I really cherish it.
So when you stand on stages like you're dealing with multinational companies, you're winning awards, you're standing on the global platforms. I mean, just suppose the picture of, come on, the stone and the yaka versus the global platforms. Does it, the sense of perspective, the stretch, what goes through your mind?
Honestly speaking, I don't always give myself the permission to do that connection. Like when I get on those stages, it feels like a different person. Like I always tell people, like I'm naturally an introvert. I like to keep it myself, be at home. I don't like to be out there by my job, because of my job, to be out there speaking. So the way I started speaking, I remember the first time I spoke publicly was TEDx Accra, April 4th, 2012. I got on stage. I prepared my speech. And then I went on stage and I forgot everything.
Yes?
Yeah, I forgot. Everything I memorized just disappeared. I just started talking like we are talking right now. And then people resonated with it. And then that's how it comes. When I get on those stages, like I try not to I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. I don't compare. I just go And then I feel like I get possessed by some divine something. I get on stage and I just deliver. And I don't watch my videos. I don't like listening to myself because it feels weird to do that. So, moments like this when we are talking and I get the chance to do the comparison, and it makes me very humble. Just like understand what can happen in like 15 years. When people are given the opportunity and the chance, a lot of good things can happen. And talent in this country there's no limitation on talent. There's just limitation on opportunity. So when I reflect in conversations like this, I get to know, wow, so much can happen. And for me, that's why also drives my work at Farmerline and my work at other places, to just spread a blueprint. And for me, it's also one way to see your ideas living. It's like sharing with people, right? So
talking about your ideas, I mean, your DALL-E AI has been named in Time magazine as one of the best inventions of the year 2024. Just walk us through, what exactly does it mean to be named in Time magazine's top 100 for the year 2024?
Well, it's a good, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a good feeling to be named in like a 100-year-old magazine that US president and other people have been on top of. Obviously, they've also done a good job branding themselves. So when people name you like in something like that, our investors also get really, really happy. But the idea behind DALL-E is actually Ever for DALL-E. DALL-E is the name of my mom.
Okay.
And that same year that
what's the meaning of DALL-E?
DALL-E is to whisper in Ever.
So you have to whisper it.
Yeah,
Say it so loud.
Exactly, to whisper. And the idea behind that was the first technology that we've built for Farmerline, which was like to send voice messages to people in their local languages. We wanted to build an AI version that can hear anyone, even if you're whispering or even if your background noise is very high, which is the reality for most of our use cases. Farmers on the farm, trotro people in the car. So build software, not one that requires like very high quality audio, but even if the person is whispering or very big background noise, people can also listen.
So what are they typically whispering? Walk us through the solution.
So the solution is basically like teaching people, Africans, in their native languages. Research shows that when you deliver information to people in the language that they understand, adoption goes up by over 60%.
My wife Comfort loves this subject like her skin. She read her first and second degrees in English and linguistics, so she loves this.
And somehow the word connects intelligence to ability to speak English, but how about our local languages, right? So, and then the big tech companies were not building AI for our local languages. And just for full disclosure, there are other Ghanaian companies like Ghana NLP who have been doing a lot of research into this already. We took a lot of inspiration from their work to build DALL-E. We just built a product from DALL-E. And now the product speaks about 43 African languages. And the whole idea around that is to enable people to communicate with AI in their native languages using voice. So AI that speaks Twi, AI that speaks Agbani, speaks Ga, and all those things. It speaks Kenyan languages, Ivorian languages like Baole, Diola. And the solution, what we built it for, is very simple: to help us reach rural people or help us reach people who prefer to communicate in languages that is outside of English, French, and Spanish, which is what most of the big tech companies like Microsoft and Google focus on. There are about 7,000 of those languages in Africa. Ghana has about 60. Nigeria has about 200. If you're trying to do business with the informal sector, which is what drives our economy, which is what makes Ghana work, we have to build solutions that engages and speaks to those people. So now there are even people who are building solutions for like a dispenser speaking Twi. People like your bank, you call your bank and you want to get your bank balance. Instead of English, you speak Twi. Very soon, MTN and Co, their call center, all the things, it won't be in a recorded local language. It will be an AI speaking local languages very fluently. Imagine the power of that. Imagine someone sitting in Avalavi with Yam phone can access all the content of Google and Wikipedia on their phone by just speaking. Imagine the power of that. You and I have access to it now. We have ChatGPT in our pocket. We have Google in our pocket. We can get access to information. I was telling someone that today we don't have any excuse. We have more information than the US president in 1970. If you take your phone, you can get access to intelligence and information very quickly. As compared to the US president of 1970 or 1980, now it's in our pocket. There's literally no excuse. So the DALL-E was built to just give opportunities. We are starting with farmers, but the hope is to scale this to other sectors and also other industries with the sole goal of spreading opportunity and encouraging economic mobility.
Wow. So how did you connect to 3,000 partners, 50 countries, and most importantly, 2.2 million farmers? I know my interest. So
yeah. Like, and when I break it down, like you see that it's very easy. Well, it's not that easy, but we didn't do that by ourselves. We do that through partnership.
Fantastic.
We focused on doing what we knew how to do best, which is build technology for rural people. Technology to send information, technology to collect data, technology to finance. And the way we reach those many people, the 3,000 partners include field officers. So someone who is on the field holding a mobile phone, taking data from farmers. It includes big corporations like Hershey, includes the government of Sierra Leone, includes big brands like, Barry Callebaut, the largest chocolate manufacturer in the world. So all those people are a mix of the 3,000 partners. 50 countries basically means that they've deployed the solution in 50 countries. We do not have offices in 50 countries. So for instance, the solution was used in Pakistan. I've never been to Pakistan. It was used in Oman. I've never been to Oman. The solution was used in India, or I've been to India, Vietnam. So we have customers in those places who are deploying the solution to do three things: either training farmers, financing them, or connecting them to market. So when you take one big chocolate company like Hershey, they have like thousands of farmers. So through them, we win through them. We bring what we do best. They also bring what they do best, and we work towards the same goal, which is to create lasting profit for farmers. So just to clarify that. And then when I break that down, you see how
I get it.
You can win with and through other people, without trying to do everything yourself. Yeah,
it's one of the big lessons that I think we should canvas before we close.
Yeah.
And that is a partnership. Not doing everything yourself.
Yeah.
Because in our interactions with business people, entrepreneurs, young people, we find that sometimes people want to try out the ideas by themselves alone. Evidently, from your 3-week training program at Legon, you found your partner. Is it Emmanuel?
Emmanuel Sade, yeah.
Exactly. So one of the things that is deliberately done is to challenge you to build a partnership with different strengths, leverage them. What would you say about the strength of collaboration and partnerships?
Like for me, like today it sounds nice when I say it like that, but we didn't always start with partnership. Right? As a young person, there's ego involved. You want credit. You want people to say you are the man. You want to feel like you're the man. So for me, it's just like you've tried all other ways, and then you get tired, you get beaten, you get depressed. You realize that this is actually it's not very wise to try and do everything, because you don't have first of all, you don't have to live through every mistake to learn them yourself. And you can actually win through others, which is actually smart and more efficient. So there's like a lot of failure from trying to do it the old school ways and coming to the realization that actually it's smarter to just work with and through people. And that's something that we still try to get better at today. Because it's like you're a human being, the ego always gets in the way.
The religious studies master used to call it a choice between soso chinchin and chinchin soso. He says sometimes. He says sometimes. The simplified version is either you enjoy today and suffer tomorrow, or you suffer today and enjoy tomorrow. Yeah. So in this essence, sometimes you need to make hard choices today against a better tomorrow. And I guess that's the chinchin soso that you did.
Is that true?
Yes. Okay. My mention may need some slight modification, but that's the essence of it. Okay. Alloysius, thank you so much for this time.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Let's do this again, shouldn't we?
Yeah, on my day.
Any day.
On my day. Any day. No, I really, I grew up looking up to this platform. In Volta, I was hoping, we used to pray for the road shows to make it to our high school.
Yes.
So to be here is a full cycle moment. Like I mentioned, I've been following you and your wife. I added you on Facebook and stalking you people for 15 years now.
I remember the name too well.
For the opportunity.
Those days was just a name. Yeah. And that's the power of social media. It was just a name. Yeah. A very regular commenter on stuff on the page. Yeah. And just to link it to where you are today is just a source of great pride for us that our paths have connected and we are celebrating who you are today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. This is why we call it the virtual university. You can get anything here, and Alloysius has served as a full bouquet, a full potpourri, a full plate, a full kaleidoscope of experiences, learnings, interventions, and lessons that we can live on for several years to come. I don't know who you are listening, watching, experiencing the virtual university, but I know one thing for sure. You can't be the same again after this conversation. And he says, do something and make sure it is in the agric space. Something, at least something small in the space. This has been Springboard, Your Better University, brought to you by the Springboard Ratio Foundation in partnership with MTN Ghana, the Enterprise Group, and the Ghana Growth Program, a collaboration between Mastercard Foundation and Springboard. Our media partners, Joy FM, Joy News Television, the Springboard channel on YouTube, and the graphic group of newspapers. My name, as always, is Alloysius Attah, saying God bless you, and God bless you.
Turn around.